Well, well, well.
Well, well, well.
Well.
I think we can all agree that after watching all the teams this weekend, it should be the Bengals and the Packers in the Super Bowl.
You what ifers. I'm calling you what ifers.
Oh, baby. We here.
Stay.
Whoa. Were you just trying to hit me?
Whoa.
15 yards. You kidding me with that? You could have taken my head off.
Well, get out the way. Buffalo's coming. They're coming hot.
That was close. Welcome to another episode of the Grossi Perna Show. I'm Tom Grossi. That's Brandon Perna. And this is GPS. And hey, you know what? Brandon Perna, a pioneer. Week 1, put those Commanders in the top 15. And look at him now. He was mocked. He was ridiculed, but so was Jesus at his time.
That's right.
And now Brandon Perna rises as the Commanders' Messiah.
I am the Christ of Commanders.
Insane third act.
Optimism. I was 1 year off, too, because it was the season before I did him as my sleeper team, remember?
Yep. It's okay. It's fine. If the Cardinals do well next year, I'll say the same exact thing. You're just a little.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fine.
I mean, I think like, whoa, I think
I became a man.
I think I just turned into one. This is nice.
Hey, they drop at some point. I'm still waiting for mine. I'm hoping right around 40 is when they finally descend.
Soon. I think like there was two things I liked about Washington. I liked Dan Quinn, and the Broncos were during their head coaching search. Quinn was a name that came up, and I was like, that's, I think that would be a good hire, based not just on what was going down in Atlanta, but we saw what what he meant to the Cowboys after he left, right? But he went in there. They became a much better defense. I listened to Micah Parsons talk about him. So I like Dan Quinn. And then also, so I had to pay attention to Quinn the year before.
Sure.
And then last offseason, Broncos needed quarterback. So we did videos about every single one of the top quarterbacks. And Jayden Daniels was the guy you're like, dang, this dude's a little bit insane. So it was, it's not like that crazy to go, I like the head coach. I think that quarterback's pretty good.
Sure.
And be like, they might have a chance. Yeah. And it turns out Jayden Daniels is way better than any of us thought. He is ridiculous. And every win from, like, if he wins again next week, then he's in a category of his own. It's crazy.
It's so funny because now talking about this too, but there's a lot of talk going on after this weekend, and I'm excited to get your takes on all this too, because we haven't spoken this weekend, and kind of talking about if there's going to be an impact on like the Ben Johnsons or the Aaron Glenns of the world because of the loss. And Dan Quinn is the perfect example of why I think that answer is no. Dan Quinn got his ass handed to him in the playoffs. The Packers destroyed the Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs, and Dan Quinn was a defensive coordinator, and now he's a head coach in the NFC Championship game. Right. So I don't think that's going to have an impact, but I agree with you. And for the Commanders, man, like I'm pulling for them because as Lions fans discovered this weekend, right, it is very difficult to get back into these spots, apparently, unless you're the Chiefs. Right.
Yeah.
So like you have the Chiefs and the Bills, Chiefs going again, 7 straight AFC Championship games. But the Lions got everything they wanted except for all the injuries, of course, this year. Right. But that's why it's perfect timing on seeding, momentum, schedule, right? Health, and all those things, and a bunch of luck too. All those things come together to kind of potentially get you to the Super Bowl. And man, like the fact that Washington, with their first year head coach, with rookie quarterback, is able to go to the NFC Championship game where they're going to have a shot against the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
Right. And they have all the momentum right now after knocking off the 1-seeded Lions, who you and I spoke about this. My concern was like, okay, like if they get Gibbs and Montgomery going from the Lions, like it's going to be a tough day because the Washington run defense isn't that great. And I will never understand why they stopped running with Gibbs because he was being pretty effective. But ultimately, this is just momentum, right time, right place, and we might see a rookie in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be a great storyline. Philly's going to be a challenge for them. But when it's Jayden Daniels was the best quarterback this weekend too. Like on pretty much any metric you look at, dude was just the best quarterback in the divisional round. Sure. And that is one that featured Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Matthew Stafford, Jalen Hurts, who played through, a knee issue in that game, almost cost him. But there's a lot of quarterbacks, Jared Goff, toe-to-toe. So it's cool for Washington fans, and I really wish that Tushy was sponsoring today's show, because perfect metaphor is Washington could not clean the shit stain that Dan Snyder was off of themselves. And then the Harris group came in, and they were the powerful bidet to wash them clean, wash away their sins, and now they're a feel-good story like in the NFL. So,
and it's so easy to root for them too. And like again, Commanders fans, I'm super stoked for, because to have your god-awful owner who was a stain on the league, literally just a cloud hovering over, like folks stopped going to games. Folks stopped watching their team because of how terrible their owner is. And now, right, there is a lot of happiness and pride back in your team, and it's super exciting. So, they're going to be going to Philly. It is a hell of a game, but I want to talk about all these games with you. We want to start with Saturday and talk about that Chiefs-Texans game, because that was a lot of buzz going on after that game as well. Kind of what's your take on that, because of how you feel now you're watching that game live?
You better be ready to fillet the devil, Buffalo, because that's what it's going to take to beat the Chiefs. Yeah, there you go. You got to beat the Chiefs, and you got to beat those referees. This is weird because every team that did not turn the ball over this weekend won. Commanders, no turnovers, victory. Bills, no turnovers, victory. Eagles, yes. Chiefs, yes. One team also had 0 turnovers, but they lost. That was the Texans. They struggled in the red zone. Yeah. Their offense could pick up yards. They ran the ball well. They did the things you want to do. Get to the red zone, they sucked. Get to the red zone, their kicker misses field goals. Their special teams, I think, is the real culprit of their loss. It was the opening kick, right? Which their defense came in and held Kansas City to a field goal there. But they gifted the Chiefs good field position quite a few times in that game. They missed a couple kicks, and they were let down by that unit. You can't make those mistakes and beat the Chiefs. And while it wasn't their offense with the turnovers, it was their special teams just costing them. I think that was like the difference in that game. And Travis Kelce, they didn't have a plan for Kelce. He had 117 receiving yards. It felt like he was the only guy doing anything in the receiving game. Xavier Worthy had 1 reception. It was a big one too, but I think was Worthy the only receiver to catch a pass for the Chiefs? It was something like silly like that. Let me look. Let me double check. Kelce, Worthy had 5 receptions. Yeah, Noah Gray had 3. Kareem Hunt 1. So 0 for Hollywood, 0 for Hopkins, 0 for Juju. Xavier Worthy 5 for 45. You look at so much of what the Texans did in the box score, the stats, you're like, they should have figured out a way to win that game, or at least be, closer than trailing by 9 with the game on the line. So whatever.
Yeah, I think because the Chiefs were they played their style of football, man. And I think if we talked about that Texans game and said the shot that they're going to have is if their defense plays well. And honestly, their defense played pretty darn well. Like they did their job. Like you mentioned, special teams did not do its job. That was tough times. The offense, it wasn't the best, and that's where I was worried a little bit about how they were going to compete with the Chiefs. And then, of course, you have those 2 penalties. And like that is the most egregious aspect of like the whole reffing idea. Like it's 2 bad calls. And unfortunately, like I saw the flop after, like, of course, after the game, like all these like clips come out.
Help me!
By the way, Patrick Mahomes is far from the only quarterback who flops even within the AFC. So let's just be very clear here.
Help
Thankfully,
me,
no flag there.
I'm done.
Okay, just wanted to get out of your system. Yeah, and unfortunately, like there are some floppers in the league. Again, I will never forget. It was a Giants game years ago when they did it, and it happens every now and then, and it's an unfortunate part of the game, and I hate it. I mean, that's like the part that I hate about soccer the most. But it's bad because there's already a microscope on the Chiefs and on the officials, right?
Yeah.
So anytime that there is, and again, there's 2 bad calls. I did not like those calls of roughing the passer and the unnecessary roughness.
And they were big.
Those were big, and they led to 10 points. So now there's a microscope
how many points
already.
did the Chiefs win by?
It was
9
to 14. So
9.
But, and again, like, I don't think that's the only reason the Chiefs won, but it's that kind of stuff that coming out of that game, and I said this about Chiefs fans too. As a Packers fan whose team has benefited from a bunch of calls, we've also benefited from or been hurt by a bunch of bad calls, but it was benefited from bad call. It takes away from the game, right? Because no one's being like, wow, look how dominant your team was. It was just like, oh no, it's a false win because of the refs. And it's bad for the game. It's infuriating. And unfortunately, like anytime we're sitting here a day after or a weekend after a slate of what should be like the best weekend in football and talking about the refs, it's not good for the NFL. And like ultimately, you just want to see consistency. I mean, you and I have been talking about this for years.
I don't even care about consistency anymore. I just want to see the Chiefs be disproportionately affected by terrible calls in big games multiple times. I want them to be the most fucked over team by bad officiating we have ever seen. I want people from other sporting leagues to be like, the NFL has an officiating problem. It keeps costing the Chiefs games. That's what I want. I want the Chiefs to I want them to be like 11-0, playing the worst team in the league, and they just get dicked over by the refs. That's what we want to see. Here's the real problem too with those roughing the passer plays. Yeah. It is outside of what that rule is designed to do, right? Sure. It is designed to protect your quarterback from taking egregious hits after they've thrown the ball. And I think the NFL has these dumb like wording of the rules, right? Like it's written
the way they're written,
in a way where it forces the official to call a penalty because Will Anderson's helmet and face mask touches Patrick Mahomes. What is Will Anderson doing on that play? He is letting up, right? He is stopping himself from lighting up Patrick Mahomes. So he is doing the thing the NFL wants, and he's still getting fucking penalized for it. Yeah. And that's the problem. Correct. And the booth officials like, well, technically, there was some contact made to the helmet, and if there's some contact, we gotta call the fucking penalty. We gotta call it, Tom. No, you don't. Like,
and that's the problem, Brandon, right? Because like what you're talking about is the way that it's subjective. And like we talk about this all the time about officiating crews and teams having to game plan for certain officiating crews. I mean, hell, even Chiefs fans are like Sheffers, man. Like they have folks that they hate too. But that's the problem, is because the way that it is written and then the way that it's enforced, it leaves way too much human error in the game. And as I have said, when you even have like Troy Aikman who's going off in the booth, and again, like imagine you've never watched a football game before. Imagine you are a brand new casual fan. You are watching for the first time and you see this penalty marker being thrown, right? So we got a flag. and the commentator is ripping into the refs saying that this is the wrong call, the first question you're going to ask is, well, then how come they're not fixing it on the field? If the expert okay, all right, he's a quarterback, a Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champ, like, okay, if he's saying that this is wrong, how come they're not fixing it? Yeah. And that ultimately is where there's a huge disconnect, because there needs to be something in place, because a decision, as always, and again, we've talked about this ad nauseum, has to be made. Do you want to keep the human error in the game? And then it's, hey, there's going to be bad calls. It is what it is.
Sure.
Or do you want to utilize that technology where you can see it in super slow motion and see every single time detail and go, oh, that wasn't the right call, but we're still going to proceed with this? Until you allow that to actually change those calls, then what are we doing out here? Dave, happy belated birthday.
Yeah. Just get the booth official just needs to be like, yeah, that one stands. Or no, pick it up. Just pick it up. It was close. And I get it. Like, if you're out there on the field and you are an official, things happen pretty fast. They happen pretty fast. And I don't like to, give the officials credit. Their job's tough. I said it. Their job's a little tough.
Sure.
Out on the field, you get a different angle too. We always forget that. They see things a little bit differently. The official who threw that, I think he's on the backside, right? So I don't know.
Look at the Lions
Here's
game.
Another thing, and I noticed this. In those cold games, the sound of pads hitting each other is a lot louder, right? Like, so even if the contact's not bad, it's going to sound a lot harder than it is. But I think, like, the first roughing was bad because it was on third down. It would have stopped the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And then the other one, Mahomes is running, right? He becomes a runner. He cuts back inside, and he kind of does this slide thing. And the guys, they touch him down, but they didn't, like, the difference between what they did to Mahomes there and the hit that Aziz Al-Shir had on Trevor Lawrence are miles apart.
It's very, yeah.
And that's just another one. Like, you can't throw that flag in that game.
Yeah. I mean, dude, so like we're talking about that Lions game super quick and talk about the officiating. When I'm watching it live, I thought that was a face mask, right? Because the guy is pulling on his shoulder. He turns his helmet. And I was like, oh, that's a face mask. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
But then they show it and it obviously wasn't, right?
No.
But they called it on the field. That's a face mask and it's BS and it obviously wasn't. But that's what I mean. Like, there is a little bit of grace here that the officials are put in a very bad situation by the league, because it's like, hey, this all comes down to you. Have fun, right? Like, and you're not even going to be paid as full-time employees, but do what you got to do and, make these important calls. And that's why, like, I always have appreciation for the refs when they're just like, hey, let them play. Unless it's something that's so egregious, just let them go. And I think that that's where a bunch of people fall, of like letting it play, unless it is those situations where it is a late hit or someone's safety is being put into jeopardy. Yeah. That's where it's a problem.
It's also tough on the same weekend where you have, after Jared Goff threw his interception, he gets just popped in the chin, right? He gets blasted, dude. Helmet right up in his face. And I learned something new, because I thought you could hit the quarterback basically as hard as you want on a play like that if they're going to try and get involved in the play. But apparently they're still protected even in those situations. Per the rule book, right? So the officials, like, that should have been called. Now, like what I said in my Lions video is, I do not think the Lions defense is stopping the Commanders in the red zone there after that. So you're just probably prolonging a touchdown. But when you have an instance of Patrick Mahomes taking a minor hit and Jared Goff getting blasted, and one is flagged and one is not, and by the rule book, they should both be penalized.
Sure.
That's where it gets it's tough. And in that same Lions game, Jayden Daniels got popped too. And
Wisconsin Badgers.
He wasn't throwing the ball. He was, I don't know. He's not a blocker, right? But he's still protected. And it was a Pascal got flagged for hitting him. So, it is what it is.
Again, and like the Chiefs, I think they played a better brand of football. You talk about mistakes and ultimately where this is going. Like, the Chiefs controlled the clock. They did what they had to do. They grinded them out, and they didn't make any mistakes. and like we talk about special teams, and that's what I mean. Like, I think the Chiefs were the better team on Saturday. But when we talk about this crap, it just takes away from it. Look how much time we just spent talking about the stupid officiating, right? So at the end of the day, I'm excited for the AFC Championship game. But holy crap, talk about microscopes is going to be on that game.
Yeah. See, and this was my thought too, Taylor. This was my thought. And then the booth official said should have been flagged. He is protected in that situation. So I learned something. Now, maybe that booth official is right. How good are these booth officials? Can we do a background check on them? Huh? Are they keeping up to date with the rule book? Or are they just shooting from the hip like I would be doing if I had that job?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's just like, yep, that's a rough in the passer. They're like, it was the punting unit was out there. You're like, it's rough in the passer. That's fine. Talking about Saturday night's game. Holy crap, man. So the entire NFC North heralded as the best division in football, bar none. 2 14-win teams, 3 playoff teams. They don't win a single playoff game. We're all on the couch now. Bears sit on the floor. But we're all on the couch now. And damn, dude, I did not expect. Like, I think I was like, okay, there's a path to victory for the Commanders. I did not expect that.
Yeah.
The turnovers killed them.
Yeah.
Absolutely killed them. Like that's a huge difference maker in that game. The Lions defense, non-existent. And the Commanders, man, holy crap, did they come to play. They getting those turnovers. But we talk about the mistakes of the Lions, but the Commanders deserve a ton of credit. Jayden Daniels, dude. Oh, man. We were talking about him just before. Phenomenal in that ball game. Like, just 22 for 31, nearly 300 yards, sacked 0 times, right? He was that guy. 16 for 51 on the ground. And again, to do that as a rookie, to go into Ford Field, the number 1 seed, on the road back-to-back, damn impressive, dude. That's damn impressive.
It's like, I swear, it's like every 20 minutes, there's like a new Jayden Daniels stat that I see on Twitter from that game of like how good he was. It's like that meme. It's like, hey, babe, a new Jayden Daniels stat just dropped, and he's fucking good.
Yeah. He's damn good.
I think like it's his composure is off the charts. You can't measure composure anyway, but per me, in my eyeballs, off the charts. His efficiency, his ability to put the ball in smart places. And like that was the difference between him and Goff in this game, and Goff knows better, right? Like we would forgive Jayden Daniels if it were flip-flopped and he threw the 2 picks in this game and was strip sacked in the red zone. Be like, he's a rookie, still played a solid game, had a great season. Goff's been around long enough. He airmailed that pass to Tim Patrick that resulted in a touchdown. And that strip sack in the red zone, that's the one that really killed the Lions because they were about to go up by, they would have been up 14-3 after that, I think. And instead it just changes the momentum and it gives Washington kind of this upper hand moving forward. And then outside of stats and numbers, what Jayden Daniels did is he just outscored the most difficult team to outscore this season. So the reason the Lions kept the 1 seed, despite having every defensive player, digging 3 feet of their grave because they were that injured this year, they just outscored guys. And we saw it in that 49ers game. We're like, okay, the Lions can outscore anyone, but this is concerning. And then they play the Vikings the next week, and their defense looks good. Yeah. So Vikings, I think they might be the actual fraudulent ones from that crew.
Can you just repeat that real quick?
Because they gave me a false sense of hope that the Lions defense had turned it around. And then the Lions, outside of that, let's also say they caught a bad break. Second defensive play of the game, they lose Amik Robertson.
Oh my God, dude.
Breaks his shoulder, his arm. That's the second defensive snap. So Like, dude, talk about bad luck. And that probably, you lose your corner when you're already without your other corner, Carlton Davis. You're going to be reeling. And I think the Commanders were able to take advantage of that. And was it Melon Ponwu also pulled his hamstring in that game? Another defensive back. So that's hard to overcome.
Mm-hmm.
We just got so used to the Lions overcoming it, and we expected it.
Sure. Yeah. No, it's not more than ever. They've always been. That's why QBs get the biggest contracts. That's why teams, trade all these picks to try and go get their quarterbacks. Because if you have an elite QB, your job is a lot easier in the NFL.
I think the Lions need to hire a bone specialist, Tom, because Aiden Hutchinson, broken leg, Carlton Davis, broken jaw, Anzalone, broken arm, and then Robertson, broken arm. And I know injuries, they're freak, they can happen. That's a lot of broken bone injuries on one team. Get a bone doctor.
See, I don't know about that. I mean, I thought because when we were watching that live, I was like, did the receiver just push him down? Like that seemed like a very odd call. And then I was like, okay. And then we kept it moving. Yeah. But listen, you want to talk about Ravens having opportunities to win that football game? We'll get there.
I literally talked about that twice yesterday, 6:45.
Hey, Doc, and that's what I'm saying. Until the refs stop, increasing their sack numbers, blocking, those field goals, they're just a menace. They're a menace out here. And that's what I mean, man. Like, the Chiefs played a better brand of football. Like, they deserve to win that game. When it's this kind of stuff, I'm talking about the game as a whole. And unfortunately for the Chiefs, they are always going to be linked to that. And until there is either a time where that doesn't happen, or two, the officiating is going to change in some way, shape, or form, which the NFL has no incentive to. Yeah, it's unfortunately going to be a talking point. So, and yes, they did. Yes, they did. And they should have had 9. They should have had 9, damn it. Had 9. But anyway, for the Lions, they are preparing for both Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson to depart and be head coaches. Dan Campbell was talking about that earlier. And Lions, again, it's a different hurt. You had expectations this year, got the 1 seed, unfortunately had all those injuries, but now rolling up, man, it's tough to get back there. And I see that now after this weekend, Dan Campbell, it's starting to get just a little bit narratives starting to run a little bit more, because it's happened before, but is he the guy? Personally, I think yes. I think especially what he's done with that organization. But how are you feeling about kind of their future potentially without their coordinators?
Sorry, what?
The Lions, their future without both their coordinators?
We'll see. I mean, it's hard to understate, I think, what Ben Johnson has meant to the Lions offense. But the Lions offense is incredibly successful because they have some incredible playmakers and they have a very good offensive line. So as much as I like Ben Johnson, I think they can find somebody to call plays, to get Gibbs the ball, to get Laporta the ball, who had a ridiculous grab for that touchdown in that game. Jamison Williams, they're in Amon Ra's one of the most reliable receivers. I think a lot of coordinators can do that. Aaron Glenn coached up, I think, what he did this season to keep the Lions competitive with just one horrific injury after another.
Yeah.
That was probably the more impressive coaching body of work this season. And I think I trust Dan Campbell, though, to find the right guys to come in and replace him. Him and Brad Holmes they're very good together. I think they have an idea of who they want to do these things. They find former players a lot of the time with experience. Ben Johnson was with Campbell in Miami. He realized this dude's pretty smart, pretty good. So I think they'll figure it out. And I think if you have a good football team, maybe maybe you get a little bit of a drop off, but I think they'll be okay. I trust Dan. I trust Dan Campbell.
These these are not comparable things in any way, shape, or form. Yeah, flopping is very different from trying to draw an offsides call. I don't know how we are making that comparison.
Sure.
Yeah, if you're trying to say it's playing within the rules of the game, sure. I'm saying the rule of flopping is stupid, and that's like where the officials need to truly I think if you are flopping after that, the problem is it's subjective, right? And it's going to depend on the officiating to try and say, hey, can we parse this out and say, are you flopping or did you really fall down? I think there's parts where it's obvious.
Yeah.
I mean, you could.
This is what I'll say. When Patrick Mahomes flops, it's disgusting.
He's not the only one. Josh Allen flops.
When Josh Allen does it, I love it. This sports, man. You could be very biased in your opinions. When Mahomes does it, he's a fucking coward. When Josh Allen does it, that's smart, and he's trying to give his team an advantage.
At least, you know what? At least, and if that
I think Bo Nix needs to do some more flopping. Honestly, you know why Bo Nix didn't flop this season, guys? Because he was playing with fractures in his back, and he didn't want to risk hurting them by falling when he didn't need to.
Fair. That's fair. There exactly.
You go. Josh Allen's cool. That's why he's so much cooler than Mahomes, and Mahomes is not unlikable, but Allen so much cooler than Patrick Mahomes.
Oh my God. I love it. I love it. Yeah, can't see in slow motion. They should too. They should have GoPro. They should have the Oculus is on all the time, even though it's just VR. It works. Yeah. So the Lions, man, I think ultimately they're gonna get healthy in this offseason, thank God. And we'll see kind of what they're gonna look like. I think a lot more eyes are gonna be on Dan Campbell, right? Because it's gonna be about who are they going to get in that building and if they can replicate that success. Because sometimes it is just those windows. Ask the Bengals, ask the Packers, right? Sure. Packers won a Super Bowl, and I was like, man, I can't wait for this dynasty. Never made it back with Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. Look at Joe Burrow, and obviously it hasn't been as long for the Packers, obviously, but it is difficult to get back there. Time and place, season matters. So we'll see. And I mean, if the Bears decide to actually be good, maybe we actually have an even more competitive division next year. Rams, Eagles. Got interesting at the end.
Got some weather in that game.
I got a little bit of weather. Got some snow. Were you all Ebenezer Scrooge once again? Because the last time you had a snow game, people were actually happy. You were just like, I hate their joy. I hate their happiness. And I hate them for it. You're like, everybody on Twitter was losing their mind because it was snowing. And you're like, grow up. Stop actually finding joy in things. Optimism and joy is dead.
I said a bunch of adults acting like they've never seen fucking snow before is annoying.
We got to enjoy it while we have it, Brandon.
I do have a weather take. I like the weather games for the playoffs. I don't mind the weather games for the playoffs. I think it makes it interesting. But I don't want it for the Super Bowl, right? That's all. I think the Super Bowl should be,
that's just because your team got its ass kicked when it was actually cold.
I mean, partially, but also you want teams to be able to do what they do well in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Matthew Stafford he's got he's 1-8 in snow games or some dumb stat. And Stafford played pretty good. The Eagles, though, they did two things. They pressured and sacked Matthew Stafford a lot. Jalen Carter was a beast. And Saquon Barkley, who we wanted to be in the MVP conversation, showed why we had him there. Hold on a second. I'll get to this, Nate. And he ripped a 70-yard run to basically what I thought was call game. Go back to the cuck. Go back to the fuck that called me a cuck. Nate, damn it. Yes. What do you want me to do? You want me to root for my division rival, Nate? I'm very clear. I don't like.
Why are you rooting for the team you hate, Brandon? I don't understand.
Isn't that what we do in sports? We root against our division rivals, Nate. Oh my God. I do. I love the relationship I have with Chiefs fans. It is fun. Sometimes they call me a cuck. That's fine. But usually you guys are pretty cool within the madness. I think they're good. And that's the thing. We can bitch about the refs and still think the Chiefs are a good team.
Hey,
That's
but
all
that's
it is.
nuance. No,
Yeah.
but hey, that's nuance. That's fence.
No.
I'm sorry. No, that's
No.
fence riding. That's It's almost like nuance exists in the game. It's crazy.
But here's the thing,
And yes,
Kansas
I
City.
completely agree, Brandon.
In this next game, too, like I genuinely like the Bills. I root for the Bills, whoever they're playing against. So now you got a team I really love going against you. So it's going to be even worse this upcoming week.
It's gonna be like you're the longest running Bills fan of all time.
Yeah. And it's like somebody's got to beat the Chiefs, like the Chiefs fans deserve all their bragging rights. Like nobody can say shit to them. So somebody's got to beat them. And Josh Allen's got to do it to save us all. Josh has to save us all. Well, anyway, back to Eagles.
They're not all roughing the passer calls are not equal too. Like we gotta do that too. Because again, that's subjective as well. Yeah. Hey, listen, my former quarterback changed the roughing the passer rule because he had his collarbone broken by Anthony Barr. And I disagree with it because sometimes gravity going to gravity and you fall down on a QB.
Yeah. One of the most annoying months of football was when they instilled the body weight rule. Like that September, the amount of dudes getting flagged for falling on quarterbacks was so annoying.
Dude, it was horrible.
And it kind of disproportionately affected the Packers because was it
Clay Matthews
kept getting penalized
weeks.
Yeah.
That was against the Vikings. Continue. Yes.
It was really funny.
Oh, it was great.
Yeah.
It was great.
I also last night, I don't know why it popped up. It was on my phone or something. It was Brett Favre's documentary, Concussion. And then I started thinking, like, Favre has concussion, Rodgers has enigma. Like, what is Jordan Love's documentary going to be in 15 years about himself?
It's got to be
like actually Favre's is probably a more poignant documentary addressing like a real issue versus Aaron Rodgers. Like, I don't know who I am in this world. Oh, it's hard being a Super Bowl champion. Favre's like, man, my fucking brain got turned to mush. And these are the problems with concussions. But anyway.
Sometimes you just need that welfare money just to, help the brain. Allegedly. I didn't even see this, Andrew. That's
Toyota-thon.
Toyota-thon.
I love trucks. I love trucks.
Toyota-thon. Oh my God. It's a tough time, Lions fans. It's a different kind of hurt, my friends. It's a different kind of hurt. Yeah. So Eagles, Rams, all this narrative of like Rams can't play in the cold and blah blah blah. I was like, dude, we forget who their quarterback was, because they played in Soldier Field and at Lambeau, because they're not crybabies who play inside a dome in the NFC North. And like the Rams kept it competitive, but I think you looked at why the Eagles are in the position that they are in, and it's because of Saquon Barkley, and it's that defense, right? Like both are amazing.
And the O-line.
I don't know if the O-line did them a ton of favors on Sunday. Jalen Hurts got sacked, 6 or 7 times?
Yeah, but Hurts hurt his knee. So I think 2 or 3 of those sacks is because he couldn't move. And he holds on to the ball a little bit there. But the Rams I think that's a testament to how good the Rams are up front too. But running the football, like the Eagles have the best run blocking offensive line in the NFL. And I honestly think the Bills are second. I think the Bills are 2.
No, I don't think he has the best rookie season. I think you look at Andrew Luck and Dan Marino, who had better rookie seasons, but it's not over. Why are we crowning people already? We're not top 5. We're not top 4. We're not any of that stuff. It
depends on what you're looking at. I think Jayden Daniels might be the most impressive rookie season. Let's see here. Hold on 1 second. Efforting.
Yeah, Gibbs 100%, dude. I don't know why you're not.
So I did a Twitter gaffe, Tom.
True.
Saquon ripped that run 4 minutes 36 seconds in that game. I said Saquon Barkley sends the Eagles to the championship game, going to be fun with the Commanders. There's 4.5 minutes. I know not to tweet something like that before a game's over. I know it. I know it in my blood, in my soul, in my DNA. Because anything can happen in a football game. But I was so sure after that play, the game was over. The Eagles' defensive front, a nightmare for Stafford in this game. And then credit to Matthew Stafford and the Rams for not giving up because they made that last 4.5 minutes wildly entertaining. Yep. I was very impressed with them not giving up, getting a touchdown drive, and then getting a stop. And there was one of your sacks you were talking about with Jalen Hurts, where I don't even put the sack on Hurts. His knee is injured. He was slow. And they roll him out to try and make a play because they think, oh, yeah, they're not going to think we're going to roll out Jalen Hurts here.
Which, by the way, the fact that first touchdown, amazing play calling, and also great on Jalen Hurts because everyone's like, oh, they're just going to give the ball to Saquon, and Hurts rips one out. What was it, like a 40-something yard touchdown on that
touchdown run, I believe.
Yeah, like that was excellent play calling.
Yeah.
And Jalen Hurts, like he played a clean game. Yes, the guy got sacked a gajillion times, but like he played a clean game, and they're winning with that, like that brand of football that the Eagles are playing, like that is Super Bowl worthy. So like their defense and their run game is just absolutely phenomenal. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's
Andrews, by the way.
It was a bad play call for a few reasons. You roll out your hobbled quarterback. You roll him out to the opposite side that he wants to throw, right? He's got to turn his body to make the throw. And is it Colby Turner was there to sack him. I think it was Dallas Goedert was open there, but Jalen Hurts couldn't turn to make the play. It was a bad call that almost blew up in their face.
Correct.
And if the Eagles lost that game, we would be talking about it. Was it Kellen Moore calling that play? Was that Kellen Moore calling that play?
Okay, so let me ask you, in terms of like a complete win, who do you think is like the most impressive team coming out of this weekend?
I mean, I think I was most surprised by how well the Commanders played.
Sure.
I think it's the Bills. I think they played their most equal opponent.
Mm-hmm.
And they figured out a way to win.
Yeah.
When and their defense made a big play. That was the difference. The fumble and scoop by Von Miller. But yeah.
I know you're happy about that, Von Miller.
Yeah, I was like a little boy. Yay, Von did it.
Talking about the Rams real quick. Stafford talks about saying that he has more football left in him. And like that last play, I'm assuming he was looking for a flag. He was trying to draw a flag with that because he just missed him completely. But man, like Stafford, when he's on, like that's a fun team. And for the Rams, talking about that D-line, holy crap, man. You're able to kind of keep that unit intact, which there's some rookies on there. It is going to be a fun team to watch. Imagine if Aaron Donald was still on that team. Good God almighty. That would have been something. But it's true, Chris. It's true.
Remember my Nick Sirianni going to the Hall of Fame prediction?
Yes, they are.
I'm going to be the first person on earth to say Nick Sirianni will be a Hall of Fame head coach. I've said it twice now. It's in the record books. Don't forget it. Look at that. Ahead of Matty LaFleur for most win in first 4 seasons.
I'm told Matt LaFleur's a bad coach,
though. The frat bro is going to get there, and people are going to be pissed. It was Jalen Carter who sacked Matthew Stafford, though, on that 3rd and 2 play that forced that 4th down that ended the game. So when the Eagles needed a big play, it was Jalen Carter who got to Stafford. I think like that was probably the most clutch defensive play of the weekend was Carter.
Oh my God. Yeah. He's a monster. He's a monster. Hey, Keenan, happy freaking fracking birthday. Appreciate the hell out of you. Yeah. Let's talk about that Bills game. There you go.
Buffalo, 1 game at a time this time. We've changed the tone. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this.
Yeah.
Oh my God. The cleanest football of any quarterback in NFL history. The lowest percentage of plays with a sack, fumble, or interception, 4.2% since the merger. That's why the Bills are winning.
And again, we talked about this ad nauseum.
I love it when Josh Allen flops, by the way. It is beautiful. It's like watching
it's like one of those whales like come out of the water.
Yeah.
Right? It's just like
Yeah. Yeah. When Mahomes does it, I want to throw up because it is an embarrassment to the sport of football. Josh Allen, smart, savvy quarterback making a play.
We don't talk anymore, so yeah, we're fighting right now. It's a big thing. He cursed the Packers, at the beginning of the year, so I just haven't let it go.
I did. Humpback whale, Josh Allen. Yeah. Yeah.
Humpback whale, Josh Allen, indeed.
And Mahomes is a sperm whale, and we're gonna swallow that man up this weekend, aren't we, Bills fans?
What? Huh? Who? Anyway, let's talk about that Bills-Ravens game. The most highly anticipated game of the postseason thus far. And when you had the opening few drives and they're like going toe-to-toe, you're like, okay, this is gonna be fun. But heading into this game, you're like, okay, which Ravens team are we going to see? And are they going to be able to run Derrick Henry? Because the last time that they played the Bills, they ran all over him. But again, they had all these starters out. And dude, the Ravens, again, even with the turnovers, which were brutal, the turnovers, no good. You had the fumble, you had the interception, not helping things out. The other fumble, that is like the difference. You mentioned this at the beginning of the hour. Like, that's the difference in these playoff games. Because I looked at the Bills and the Ravens are being pretty evenly matched teams.
Yeah.
And when you're turning that ball over, and kudos to the Ravens for still able to battle back and make that game as close as it was, because 9 times out of 10, that's a tie ball game. And then you're giving it back to Josh Allen and seeing if he could do some magic. Yeah. But, dude, just the mistakes, the turnovers, the drops. And unfortunately for the Ravens, who had another good season after being the number 1 seed last year, they find themselves in the same position that when it comes down to the postseason, those issues keep on rearing their ugly heads, and we're back at the same place.
Yeah, I think it's a tough loss for the Ravens, for Ravens fans, for all the Lamar haters out there. Like, if you're a Lamar Jackson fan and a Ravens fan, just disappear for a couple weeks. Get off the internet. You're not going to get anything good coming your way right now. I got so much respect for Lamar. I liked his post-game press conference. All he did was put the blame on himself. He is, Josh Allen, Mahomes, like Burrow, like those guys are great. They lose. I've never seen one of those guys throw a teammate under the bus. They just shouldered the blame, and that's what you want from your quarterback. And Lamar was talking about his fumble, and that one was costly. It was worse than his interception. And his interception was not good, but I think they didn't score after that. So it was like, a wash. The fumble was rough. He was like, I was trying to make a play I shouldn't have. And then Mark Andrews' fumble, that wasn't even Mark Andrews' fault. That was just a great play by Buffalo. Bernard came in and he punched it out. Like, that was a defender making a play. And he didn't just punch it out, Tom. Like, he dialed in. He decided, I'm not going for a tackle here. I am channeling my inner vintage Mike Tyson, not the corpse we saw fight the Paul guy, the Paul brother. He just came in and it was like a perfectly executed punch. Yeah. So that's the Bills defense making a play. The Bills defense made 2 key plays in that game. That's unfortunate for the Ravens. And then the tough one for Andrews, though, is not catching the ball on the 2-point play, which happened in the Steelers game too. And then it's also, but beyond that, it's like you have Derrick Henry. You've ran the ball fairly effectively, even though I don't think you ran enough. And you're not giving it to Henry there or Justice Hill, who every time he touched the ball, he was getting 6, 7, 8 yards. I think that's a problem. But then even beyond that, I don't think the Ravens win that game, even if they convert there, because there's a minute 33 left. The Bills had 2 timeouts.
Give me back to Allen, yeah.
Do I trust Josh Allen to get into field goal range in that situation? I do. I 100% do. Now, yes, the Ravens could have stopped him. We could have went in overtime. Anything could have happened.
Yeah.
But, that wasn't the game winner either. So what I like about the Bills winning that game, they got a lead early. It slipped away because the Ravens are a good team.
Yep.
And the Bills just survived that game. They survived that game, and that's exactly what they're probably going to have to do against Kansas City.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe they get a lead. If they have a lead, they're going to have to survive. If they're down, we're going to need some Josh Allen magic. But it was a good game. Like, both teams played well. Lamar Jackson in the second half was the better quarterback. Unfortunately, the Ravens just lost. It happens. Somebody's got to freaking lose, and whatever.
Perna got a fitty.
Come after me. I'm a man. I'm 40.
Yeah, cope with being the. I would have, like I've said, embrace being the villain.
Just gotta embrace it, baby.
Claim the officials. Claim them as your own. God knows I would. I would be like, I get it. You guys hate it, but the officials are on my side, so you got to deal with it.
Just gotta own it.
You got to deal with it.
Yeah, man. I think it's as a Ravens fan, like, just looking at this team, it goes like, what do you do? You went out and you got Derrick Henry. Yeah, one of the best running attacks again in the league, with one of the best running backs in the league. And man, like, it's tough because it's mistakes like that ultimately doomed him. Because like I said, like, Lamar deserved, obviously, turnovers were bad, but they deserve some credit. And it's like you said too, if you have a certain narrative about this Ravens team, you were proven correct, right? If you are like anti-Lamar, you could use things in this game and go, yep, like, this is Lamar's fault. They lost. If you want to look at your OC, you definitely blame the OC and like look at them and be like, yep, this is why too. You want to look at coaching, look at coaching too. Like, there's a number of things that you can mark, but at the end of the day, like, this has become a consistent problem for the Ravens, that when it comes to the biggest games in the postseason, they're not there. Something is falling apart. They're getting away from their game plan. We saw it in the championship game against the Chiefs. They just did not run the ball. And the Bills deserve a lot of credit too, because I don't want to make it just seem like the Ravens. It was a close game. And for the Bills, it's super exciting. I know Josh Allen after that game was just like, nobody thought we were going to beat anything. Everyone thought we were. And I was like, okay, I don't know about all of that. But yeah, there was a lot of folks that picked the Ravens to win this football game. And that defense, it was night and day from what you saw earlier in the season. But again, that made sense. They had all those starters out. So I don't know, man. It's gonna be interesting. And now, setting up for Championship Sunday, we are not getting the matchups that we thought we were going to get in the NFC.
Yeah, but look, back to the Bills thing. I would say there were a lot of people. I'm not saying they were like, the Bills are terrible. They're going to suck. But a lot of people are like, they lost Stephon Diggs. They're not going to be as good.
Oh, I'm talking about heading into this game. Yeah.
Heading into this game. But I think this is like a season-long sort of of rant.
Rebuild, reload year. Yeah.
Yeah. It was a lot of people like, nah, they're not even going to win their division. They're going to be behind the Jets. They're going to be behind the Dolphins too.
Yep. I said it. I was like, I don't know who their wide receivers are.
Nobody keeps better receipts than Barks.
Yeah. I'm talking about heading into this game.
I'm not saying this for you. I'm saying if you say something, Barks will remember.
But in terms of like, dude, like, yeah, I picked the Jets to win the division again. That was wrong. Because like, thinking about the receivers that they had, I was like, I don't know what this team's going to look like. But you know what saved the Bills season? They had a top 10 run game finally. Like, they had number 9, dude.
Yeah.
Like, they had a balanced attack. Because what have we been doing all these years? Josh Allen's that guy, but everything is on him. Now you have a balanced offense. And look what we got going on.
Jory, make sure you ban Johnny Barks from being able to comment on my side of the channel. Okay? God knows Barks has way too many receipts on me. So,
hey, Ryan, congratulations. Let's go. Happy and healthy. Let's hope everything is good with your daughter. Any advice, Perna?
Oh, okay. Ryan, this is a big moment for you. Your life's about to change for the better, my friend. First year, just prepare for it to be tough. Learn learn to do a lot of things incredibly tired. Also, find something to watch on your phone, at night in the hospital. It's going to be a little hard to sleep. You're going to be thinking about the baby. You need something to distract you from the times when your baby's actually sleeping. But just to embrace it, man. It's going to change your life for the better.
Mm-hmm.
And then, be prepared for in 4 years. You walk upstairs in the middle of the day and your daughter hands you a little piece of paper that just says "but." Carmi's like, "You think that's funny, Dad?" I'm like, "I do."
Oh my God.
She's like, "I asked Mom how to spell it." And it was literally the same day
literally your daughter. Like,
yeah,
it is
the same day Mr. Beast quoted or tweeted something that said, if the most liked comment will win whatever's in this box. I just wrote "butts" and commented on the tweet. So it's quite poetic.
Hey, again, don't need no DNA test. That is your daughter, 100%. Championship Sunday. We got the Commanders. We got the Eagles. That is going to be such a fun game because we thought we might see this in the wild card round.
Yeah.
And rubber match. Commanders, they beat Seattle's backups. Good God. Philadelphia's backups. And now there's some revenge that wants to be had. That should be an exciting game, to say the least. And then you got the freaking Bills and Chiefs. Oh, I remember, Brandon. I remember very well that they wanted Sirianni fired. But again, that's why you have to ask the question, is that the fan base or is that actual within the organization? Those are two very different things. Very, very different things.
You stay away from my fucking whiskey, okay?
That's all I have.
Look at this. You gonna come for a man who drinks whiskey out of a glass like this, my friend? These guns don't run. These colors don't bleed. You come for my whiskey, you will get one of these.
A nice glass?
That's just got a bullet in it.
No, I know, but if they come for your whiskey, they're going to get a glass. It's a cool glass to drink.
They're getting a real bullet.
I feel like that. So the only problem is if you drink that bullet side, you know what I mean? I feel like
actually it's pretty nice because you can put your fingers there.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. My mom got it for me.
Oh, that's it was a Christmas gift or?
Yeah. And there was a bullet whiskey, not bullet brand whiskey, but whiskey it's shaped in a bullet.
Oh,
I don't know why I got you those. I thought they were cute.
Hey,
you think guns are cute, Mom?
Nice job, Mom. I think it's a good gift. Look, and you got a holder, which is going to help too. The hands get a little bit weaker as you get into the 40s, so it makes sense.
Yeah, I've got a few booze glasses from this weekend. I got to take upstairs.
Hey, listen, a long weekend. Long weekend. Agent of Chaos. Before we head on out of here, because we're going to be previewing the game this week, we're going to be talking about it ad nauseum. There's only 2 games left before the Super Bowl, right? Do you feel that there is a difference, I should say enough of a difference in this Bills team where a lot of the assumptions were reload, rebuild.
Sure.
They can knock off the Chiefs in Arrowhead in the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the Bills are in a better spot. Now, the caveat there is Taylor Rapp left that game with an injury.
Yeah.
And, you want to be healthy going against Kansas City, losing a defensive back. Now, and it sounds like his injury, he's not going to be able to play. Their X-rayed his hip, right? And he didn't come back in. So I don't know what the official word is on it, but don't they have Micah Hyde on their practice squad? So they might be activating Micah Hyde. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that's, staying healthy. But I think they're set up to do it because of the way they've won games this year. And it's because Josh Allen hasn't made the turnovers. He hasn't taken he took the fewest sacks of any quarterback this season. Doesn't mean they will definitely win. The Chiefs are all those things too. But yeah, I think they're in a better spot to win this year than they were last year. And that was with them at home, right?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, don't start this again. Don't start this again.
I know it's a thing.
Yesterday. during the stream. Yeah. You will not see me there, Austin. Your journey ends on Sunday.
Yeah, man. I'm excited because like both the championship games are really personal. Like Chiefs want to avenge their loss, against the Bills in the regular season. Bills are just trying to freaking win one against them in the postseason. And then you got it's a divisional rival. The only person who's not really happy about the NFC matchup besides the Lions is the Dallas Cowboys. That is a rough time for the Cowboys. Hamlin is having a nice season.
Yeah, and he had a big game yesterday.
So, yeah, no, absolutely. I think just heading into this game, I didn't understand the comparisons between the earlier matchup between the Ravens and the Bills and how that was going to play a role here. Because again, like you just had all those starters out. But as a whole, looking at the season, 1,000,000%.
Yeah.
And that's why, like with the Bills, it's super exciting. I think you talked about this, I want to say it's like last year or 2 years ago. You're just like the window's open because you have Josh Allen. And if like this year proves that because they finally got him the support that they needed and it didn't come in a wide receiver, it came in like James Cook is killing it this year. And they have a fantastic run game to go along with their passing game. So, yeah. And again, like the Ravens made mistakes, just like the Lions made mistakes, just like the Texans made mistakes. But the other side of that is like they did enough to win that football game.
Yeah. They're showing the play of Von Miller right now. Lamar's just trying to make a play there, and he didn't. And he's one of the best quarterbacks at turning nothing into something.
Gets no help is what I'm talking about in terms of a run game. When it's literally just your passing game, I have seen this. We converted a wide receiver to a running back in Ty Montgomery because we had no run game whatsoever. We were one, if not the worst rushing team in the league. And it was like, hey, Aaron Rodgers, do absolutely everything. And eventually, if they stop Aaron Rodgers, we got no offense. And that happened at times, when you make Josh do everything.
The three-headed monster in the backfield is a nice point because all three of those running backs contributed yesterday. Ray Davis made big plays, Ty Johnson made big plays, and James Cook made big plays.
Yep.
That's how they're going to have to beat the Chiefs too. Because, it was like Amari Cooper didn't have any receptions in that game. It was mostly Khalil Shakir. So, looking into the offseason, I think you're hoping Keon Coleman can continue to develop, but one big playmaker in the receiving game would be nice for the Bills, but we'll see what happens.
Exactly. Hey, Jayden Daniels, man. I know there's going to be a lot of people rooting for him. Wildflower going to be going.
He's good.
I will not. I got too many videos to put out today. Perna, what do you got coming out?
We'll have winners and losers up later today.
There you go. Every NFL fan's reaction to divisional round. I'm going to put that out hopefully within the next couple hours. I'm going to try to get scripted done too, just because I have to do every fans. It's probably going to be late again. So just an FYI. I don't think 1 a.m. because there'll be less teams, but we'll see.
You never know.
Well, folks, we appreciate the hell out of you. We'll be back on Wednesday for another edition of GPS. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. That's Brandon Perna. This is GPS. And you have been navigated.
And you've reached your destination. Buffalo, one game at a time this time.
Okay.